TV Lounge. My name is Jerome Paul Sonko, and like I said before the break, we're going to be discussing the top stories of this week. On a Friday like this one, we get to discuss it with the main man here, Barije Andrew, who is on my right apparently this morning. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Jerome Paul Sonko.
How has the week been? How has the week fared for you?
It's been quite okay, actually. I'll say that it's been very okay. No problem, just normal business as usual. That's what I can say.
And I can tell you, we are going to be discussing normal business stories, of course. And just a quick one, we are definitely going to grow bigger in just a few hours' time, I should say, as we continue to widen our reach across the region with DSTV, and you can definitely get all the updates, and we will definitely be telling you how to catch us on that particular platform, Smart 24, as we continue to drive business and grow bigger. And now it's time for us to dive into the top stories that we've been having, and there is one which was regarding social media on business growth. And speaking of social media, the gentleman here is a tech expert, I should say, someone who actually does so as well. So bringing you all of these highlights, perspective, he will be driving us more with that one. Social media on business growth.
Downtown school. I reached out because it's one of the busiest, I know, the centers and you know, I was so amazed that so many people, there is this concept, this repetitive thing that you people need to be trained how to use social media. You know, some people, when they hear the word e-commerce, it's very complicated, but they forget that even their WhatsApp, the mere fact that they can post something on their WhatsApp, it's e-commerce already. And majority, because when I was talking to some of the leaders before I did the feed, they were saying how people need to be trained about social media. And actually, on that topic, today on the episode of Smart Tech, it's about the impact of e-commerce on the trend.
But when they mention about being educated about social media, I think someone can do by themselves. Yeah. It's just like you take baby steps and follow up and see, today you're good, tomorrow. It's just an upgrade every day, social media.
Okay, it seems like that probably because maybe the settings we've grown up. But I'll tell you the truth. There is someone out there who doesn't know. You know, and I mean, everyone thinks, okay, this is just about texting, doing this, but they don't know that, you know.
Social media on the business growth. Today's business tip was to also have the online presence in business, because you a broader space. For example, you get to interconnect with people you don't see. Yeah. Unlike here on the mainstream, where you only have to interact with the people you see who come to you. So I don't know, what is your take on the impact of social media on business?
Very, very big. Actually, you know, what I discovered on the social media, you may not really even have products. You know, what you can do, you can establish a platform. After getting that platform, you go down, you look for the different shops, you get their products, you put them on your platform, you sell them, and you get a commission. But no capital.
Yeah,
you see that?
By the way, maybe it's a platform where you can advertise, unlike a website. But if you have your WhatsApp business with you, you have your Twitter account or Facebook, you can easily advertise without being charged, because you are the ones who are watching. The followers are the potential customers or the potential at the moment. So speaking of it, also, when you look at the wave of transformation in social media, in e-commerce in Uganda, to 2020, I think that is when people go to social media, and why we need to use that space.
Space. And actually, according to the Forbes report, it shows that the e-commerce transaction retail sales come 2022 are going to increase to some. The figure was about 29%. Estimating that's globally. So you can see it's not only just in Uganda, something being adapted by the different places of global all over the world, and it's positive. 2025 estimations, according to the Ministry of, we expect it to penetrate. The penetration rate is very high, about 21.9.
And what I also understand about social media is it favors both people.
Exactly.
Whether you but when you know how to use a smartphone or you know how to access the internet, basically. That's why I was saying when we talk about teaching people, maybe that is for specific people who can develop a website for you. More so a commercial website. It's something that you need to pay for and get an expert who will even manage it for you for some time. As the numbers grow, you're good to go. Now, as we're summing up with that one, what would be your final verdict?
Of course, my final verdict is that I would encourage the traders out there to embrace the aspect of e-commerce. Actually, I was talking to one of the developers, people who develop e-commerce platforms in Uganda, and these are university students, and they told me they are making this thing because many traders have got, there is what we call compatibility. So they're going to make it easy for anyone with any gadget to make sure that they can access that, encourage traders to make sure that you embrace it. Not everyone is going to come find out the prices, but when they're at their comfort in their homes, it's going to be much more easier to check out the prices.
And that report on social media, I believe, is something that was running also in our daily reports here. But it's so important for people to understand that the internet space is what we should normally look at and greatly execute. Now, we turn our eyes to the East African community railway transport. And this was a report regarding the revival transport, mainly also in Uganda, because the standard gauge railway in Kenya is already on the go. Tanzania is also setting up its SGR. Now Uganda wants to follow suit with railway transport. There are lots of advantages with railway transport, by the way, if you're to look back in the time when it was very active in Uganda. But now fast forward, currently people are opting for borders and taxis and all that as a means of public transport. But railway transport, which is actually it's when it comes to cargo movement in the country. So apparently, on the follow-up of that report, you went down, you went to
the officers of the Uganda Railways
Corporation.
Yeah.
And I would want you to expound more on what you discovered, by the way, because you apparently also got a feel of the train in there. Yes.
Have you been to the train before?
No, not really. I just see them moving on the rails every day.
Well, okay, that's why. Okay, like what I can say is that there is quite a very promising future, like regarding, because that is in regard to the current crisis of the fuel. And everyone, we're trying to, and it's like it's not going to reduce. So one of the only options is to adapt to the railway transportation system. And of course, when I was with the PRO of the Uganda Railways Communication, talked something, and it was really very positive and promising about a 5-year plan to establish rail stations, railways across all parts of Uganda, like to make them accessible. Because I believe, and also multiplying the trips, increasing the trips, because like shifts, saying that, okay, we can have a morning shift, an afternoon shift, an evening shift. So it's going to be much more favorable. Though 5 years, what do you think? I don't know.
5 years, I think it's a long-term goal, I should say, but it's a time frame that we should live with.
I feel like it should have been more than that.
Okay.
For it to be realistic. Okay, in my perspective, railway projects are quite heavy projects. And we're talking about.
No, but I think if the funds are there, have is funds. Delay of funds coming in, or people swindling the funds and misusing these funds. Instead of these funds being used for certain projects, someone uses them for personal gains and stuff. Hey. So, but I would, for the feel of the train, I want to know, you felt it moving, or
actually
I need to know how it is. Is it comfortable? Because even comfortability determines someone's choice of transport.
Exactly. Actually, the feel is more like it's a very silent place.
Okay.
Actually, it's not much different from a bus.
Okay.
If you've boarded a bus, but the only difference is that it's much more comfortable and too silent. It's like proofed within. You
never know what is happening.
What is happening outside. Exactly. So imagine, and that's the distance it's traveling, and you can imagine the comfort you can have. You don't have the distractions from things that are coming from outside. That's how I can describe it.
But back in the time, I had a challenge with the railway transport of ours, because when I look at the rails, they looked too old. Too old. I believe they didn't expect them to be able to actually carry heavy luggage or cargo as it is happening now. Because when you look at the state of most of these rails, you're like, I think they're too old, but then you will see trains moving around weekly.
Actually, about that, when I was reading something regarding the Uganda Railways Corporation, because Uganda, among the East African countries, we have the least kilometers of railway lines, about 1,200 kilometers of railway lines, but 568 kilometers have been under, let me say, renovation. Now, you know, I used to work, I see literally dusters come out, you see, and you're like, the rails are inside.
I know.
So there is a renovation to put them back to, the 568 kilometers put back to proper use, to proper service.
Okay, now, let's also have more from the Uganda-Somalia partnership. I wouldn't call it SAMING, but Uganda-Somalia Summit.
Yeah.
They speak with Munyonyo, and was a memorandum of understanding. I think you also had this same report today in the CAP, as the leaders discussed with the bilateral talks, discussed trade, investment, and security. I think that is something that we can ably offer at all, and also look at quite a number of things. And the president was quick to thank Uganda by them, by their side in the political
aspect.
Now also the economical field is what they want to see prosper. But it is something that we look at and we think there are opportunities for us.
Yeah, because when I was going through aspect, okay, what got my attention mainly was the aspect of plus product to Somalia, which is going to help to bridge that extra gap. You know, surprisingly, did you know that when you look at the statistics report, what from the global market, global exports, we export 0.02%, and one of the reasons why that comes across is because sometimes what determines the strength of the country's export. Remember, you export into, so you find that the relationship you carry, that long-term relationship you carry with that country, determines the value of the exports.
Okay,
being really having that. So with this money, if we strengthen it, it can be a country where we can rely on. You know, Somalia. If this bite, we go to Somalia.
Yes.
Definitely, our export volume might increase from 0.02 to probably 0.2.
By the way, when you talk about this, now we're expanding our market strength. Looking at the DRC also providing a huge market for us. Now Somalia wants also to get part in the East African community. Now at a time when Ugandans are also elections at the time, you would realize if we have all these markets open, you have South Sudan, DRC.
I believe Somalia is not a landlocked country.
It is not.
It is not. So
it gives us that option of though ideally when you look at the location, Kenya is far better to us than Somalia, but then when you look at having various options, Somalia still comes in there. Now also lastly, from our top stories, we look at the issue of counterfeits in electronics. This is another big story and a big issue that has been in the country for quite some time. I remember last week we were discussing the Uganda fake phones. Yes, to switch off the fake phones. Now, I think this is where the dealers now come in, who believe that those dealing fake phones are affecting them who are dealing genuine. I know that theirs is genuine and others are fake.
No, this is the thing. It's very interesting. I remember when I reached on ground, there is a building I went into. Of course, I won't mention the name of the building. You did that feed from. And you know, people, they want to talk. And you know, the best thing they can give you is that, you know, those very people that are responsible for checking those products are the ones in these deals of how do these products even cross the border and they come into the country.
Sometimes I want to understand as well, because you will see products of UK used. In my mind, I'm like, oh, someone used plane and brought them as his personal cargo. Someone just brings someone can bring a dozen of phones and say, this is my property, belongs to me. So that means they're not paying any taxes. Whether it's fake or not, it hits the market.
Okay. a second-hand used, I may not regard it as a fake product.
Oh.
But those products from the manufacturer, if you to check the book, they call them the prints. They are fake.
Okay. The print factory. Oh, okay. It is a company that is known for producing quality. Oh.
Okay, now this is the thing. Of course, when these companies make these products, there are standards. Because I believe people who go out there from China to buy, they'll always tell you which class you want.
Okay.
There is those goods are in classes, and of course the lowest class is never up to standard, and unfortunately, it's what most
So the manufacturers always have to create options for every class that happens, because there is not anyone who can afford everything.
Yeah.
One who can afford an expensive one. Because there are stories I've been hearing where someone buys for example, an Apple-driven phone or an iPhone, and then on loading the phone, it with an Android sign. So you're like, okay. That's weird thing.
Now this is the thing. Those developed countries, there is. Because they have gone ahead of us in technology, in most cases what they do, students, like how you used to do practicals in chemistry, so they are practicals. Some of these are tests, and because some people want money, so if you got an iPhone and it displayed an Android, probably somebody was testing it or playing around with it.
Yeah. Earlier this week in India, the government came out to ban Chinese companies from dominating the market, smartphones. So they had to ban out the Xiaomi's. There are like 3 companies of Chinese smartphone making companies that were banned from India. The Indians feel they need that space as well. They need their benefit from it. Not only Chinese products filling up. I think we have a lot of Chinese products in the country.
A lot of them. But if I may ask on that very story, was that? Okay. Are they saying that China imports fake products? Because China has really good products.
It also has, back in the time we only got to know that it's Chinese if at all it is fake. Because that concept and mentality was there since then. And some people thought Chinese never manufacture good stuff or genuine products. But those who have actually felt it,
the original
Chinese, they believe it is good.
Because of that, the iPhone is assembled. I think it's manufactured in because these guys are good at it.
Because it comes in from the States. Because that is
the mother company comes in, but then you find that the final production in the production chain of the iPhone, there is
in terms of assembling and all that.
And also programming a bit. They are so ahead in technology. That's what I can say.
But now they've also got their smart. I think we also have a number of Chinese smartphones in the market here, because unless you move into the market or phone dealers, you will not imagine that we have over 10 brands of phones in this country.
Very many. Actually, I think 2 weeks back, I went to buy a phone. I went into a shop of a certain company, and then this guy told me, this is a Chinese. He was genuine, but it's original.
And sometimes you go to realize that, but now counterfeit electronics is that the dealers that believe they sell genuine products are saying or are claiming those who are selling the fake ones have affected their market, and it's something that is inevitable, by the way.
Something of that. There is a gentleman who said that for them when they sell, like he was selling screens, now you come to him, he can tell you this is original, this is fake. And there are products which are hard to duplicate, to make a counterfeit from them. And I think he mentioned, was it LG, that brand? Yeah, something like that. But majority can easily be washed in, and they make other fake products.
And LGs are limited lately in the country.
Yeah.
And I believe that makes it, but if the Samsung's iPhones are common in the country, it is easier to counterfeit them or make them fake for the Ugandans. All right, now, for all of you who have been part of us since this week started, I think we're leaving you on this note here Friday. We've been coming to you live from the Smart 24 TV lounge, and I'll give Berige Andrew his last say to give you his final verdict as the week is actually coming to an end, and wishing you well for the weekend.
Yeah, and of course today is the 12th of August. Yes, we're almost heading to the midway of the month. And of course, you always have to make sure that whatever prospects you made throughout the week, what have you achieved? Get back on paper. Have a plan for every week. Have a goal with a deadline. If you didn't achieve it, at least make sure if you didn't achieve your goals this week with the actual deadline, because the deadline was this week, make sure that those very goals can be transferred to next week and make sure that they are accomplished. That's the only way you're going to see the success in business.
All right, that's very good. Andrew, you can get him more tonight on Smart Tech, the tech show that brings technology in the world of business. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. Meanwhile, thank you very much for being part of Smart Means Business. And as of now, we're signing out till Monday. Blessed weekend.